Denver Broncos not only dominated the NFL draft, finding exact players that fit the holes that Sean Payton saw on this young and hungry playoff team, we also had a very underrated, undrafted free agent group of signings here. Now, before you write that off and say, oh, undrafted free agents will never make the team, you got to think of guys like James Harrison, Kurt Warner, Antonio Gates. You look just on this team, and Rod Smith, Chris Harris Jr., Shaq Barrett, last year, Dondre Tillman, one of my favorite running backs, Philip Lindsay. The Denver Broncos have a long and storied history of being able to find an undrafted guy who fits a need on this team, and I think the Denver Broncos got a ton of them. We're going to break down 3 of them in this video who I think make this team better, who I think make not only the training camp roster, but I think make the final 53. If you're new to the channel, diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben, and it helps me in the algorithm out a ton if you like the Broncos, if you would like and subscribe. So here are the 15 as of now who the Broncos were able to convince to come and sign a deal with Denver. Several of these players listed on Zach Stevens' tweet here were expecting to have their name called, and many draft analysts predicted several of these to actually be drafted in the 6th and 7th round of the NFL draft. So the first one we got to break down here, I think this is going to be a weapon not only on special teams, but I could see him actually making the wide receiving room there for the Denver Broncos, and this is Joaquin Davis. He's from HBCU, North Carolina Central. He is as tall as Courtland Sutton. He's about 6'4" with cleats on, and he ran a blazing 4.36 40 at his school pro day. At his official HBCU combine, it was only a 4.4. Still, you were talking about a wild burner with crazy height. This is the type of guy just a few years ago that the Raiders would have picked with their overall number 1, where you're like, hey, tall guys who can run fast, this is what they did. He has decent hands. They say he struggles when he's going up against for a contested catch, but already you're going to see him make an immediate impact as a gunner on special teams. A guy who's standing at 6'4", flying at you with 440 speed. Watch out. We already saw the Broncos were able to get a punter who's going to have wild hang times, especially kicking at altitude, our Aussie punter. And so I just see this as a special teams win. Rizzi is going to love this. And you never know, like Hail Mary type situations, you put him in and help him learn the route tree. The big knock on someone like Marvin Mims when he came in the league was all he could do was run one route, which is a go route. Same thing with Xavier Worthy. That's exactly what we are hearing here with Joaquin Davis, is that he's basically got one route in his arsenal. I expect, just like we've seen with Marvin Mims, he's going to learn the whole route tree, and you were talking the exact type of receiver that Sean Payton wants. He wants height. He wants guys getting off the bus looking like they are basically a basketball team, and he's talked about that all the time, and I think this fits that mold. You're now looking at Vele, Courtland Sutton, and now Joaquin Davis all standing at 6'3", 6'4". I think that is a fantastic signing for the Broncos. And again, you're hearing multiple teams wanted to called him. Sean Payton is famous for like being like a dog going after a bone, trying to get these guys to come to Denver last year, making multiple calls so that LaVale Bailey ultimately chose the Broncos. He was the only head coach who actually made the call and said, come to Denver. And so he did. Next guy has me hyped on a number of reasons. Number 1 is thinking like guys like Shaq Barrett, undrafted. He reminds me a lot of Shaq Barrett. Also has a hilarious name. We were talking Johnny Walker from the University of Missouri. We're talking about another undrafted guy who is also the captain of their team. We know Sean Payton. We got at least 5 captains of their team in college who are now Denver Broncos. That is a huge thing to Sean Payton, that character issue. You don't have to worry about that with Johnny Walker. He carries the culture himself. Now, you're seeing this right up here, obviously from his home state here of Missouri, saying they think the Broncos actually landed one of the most underrated defensive ends in the entire defensive end class. He actually lined up and played with several first-round draft picks, including Darius Robinson, and yet he actually had more sacks than him in his Missouri career. So that's kind of crazy. He led the Mizzou in sacks each of the past 2 seasons, and mysteriously just was not even invited to the NFL Combine. There's only a certain number of positions and players that get invited. Johnny Walker was a total scratch from not even being invited. And one of the reasons I'm most hyped about him is watching him go up against the University of Ohio and the Kansas City Chiefs first-round draft pick. And if our undrafted dude is cooking your first-round draft pick, what do you think Jonah Ellis is going to do? What is Jonathan Cooper going to do? What is Nick Bonito going to do? And honestly, what is he going to do? What is Johnny Walker going to do when he gets a chance to play you again? And so a couple amazing angles here of him just absolutely cooking. the Kansas City Chiefs first-round draft pick. And again, this is a win for the Broncos. Like, this is who the Kansas City Chiefs thought is going to keep Patrick Mahomes safe next year. Not going to happen if you're getting cooked by our practice squad dude, basically. And I think he could be way more than a practice squad guy. I think reading that right up on him and knowing his character and all of that kind of stuff, it's a really good sign. Love this video, this angle of him just absolutely cooking the Kansas City Chiefs first-round draft pick. Amazing. And speaking of cooking the Kansas City Chiefs, do you remember how that felt last year when we had like our future of our franchise, Bo Nix, who literally had his back broken by kind of a dirty hit and no flag on the field? In fact, the entire season, Bo Nix had exactly 0 roughing the passer penalties called against him, which is just mind-blowing. Wouldn't it be awesome to be able to get that off your chest during the game? Like, hey, how's there no flag there? Or anytime you watch a Chiefs game and this right tackle is just like, hey, I don't have to wait for that ball to be snapped. I can go whenever I want. Or their other tackle who's like, I don't actually have to block the guys. I just can grab them by the jersey anytime I want because I play for the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, that is where the sponsor of today's video comes in. It's going to be a must-have app for all of us, and it is called Penalty Verdict. And essentially, it's going to crowdsource all of our opinions when it comes to refereeing in the NFL and in college football. You will launch that app up on your phone and be able to say, that was a great call, that was a horrible call, that was a no call. It's going to be awesome. And all I'm asking you to do is go to penaltyverdict.com/sportstalkdenver, put your email in the wait list, and they will email you when this app is live. And I'm going to have this on my phone all next season as I am upvoting and downvoting different penalties across the entire NFL. You're going to have advanced analytics on what referees are calling what types of fouls most often. It truly is the app that, like, if I was smart enough, I would have made, but instead I'm pumped to be sponsoring with them and joining with them. So penaltyverdict.com/sportstalkdenver. Let's be there next season and let's downvote every single foul against your Denver Broncos. All right, next up on our list of undrafted free agents that the Denver Broncos absolutely stole, I think we're looking at Jerwan Newton. It looks like Jerjuan, but it's pronounced Jerwan Newton. The all-time leader in receptions or in receiving yards for the University of Toledo and a 3-time All-MAC performer. I think you are talking about Bo Nix getting an absolute weapon here. Sean Payton, again, wants different types of receivers. So we have our big dudes getting off the bus looking like they could play power forward in the NBA. And then we have our smaller little slot receivers looking here, obviously, at getting a Pat Bryant in there, a great route runner, basically stepping in to be a slot receiver right away. And I think Jerjuan could be that exact same thing. Reading this update here on him, and you can tell they were absolutely in love with him in Toledo, and just a great high character guy again. And his kind of his nickname there was Rocket Man when he played there. You just see speed there. While his speed in pads didn't always equate with his speed that he ran in his pro day. He only ran like a 4.6 in his actual pro day. But I think we are getting a game wrecker here. He feels like he is always open. Like, look at how he's waiting for this ball to come in here. Bo Nix is going to put that out a little more in front of him. Reminds me a little bit like that route there, especially of a Troy Franklin. But you're seeing University of Toledo, while it's definitely not the Ohio State University or anything like that, they play against some fierce competition. There's clips here of him playing against Iowa and other blue blood kind of college teams like that. So I think he could be a great asset to your Denver Broncos. Love this one-handed catch he makes here in traffic in the middle of the field, but you're seeing a ton of separation and sure-handed there. Seeing his ability after the run there is cool. And here is the video of him against the University of Illinois. Again, just showing that he did play against some actual competition too. It wasn't just a bunch of chumps. Him able in zone coverage there to find the little open spot in the zone is fantastic. And then loved this clip here against Pitt. And again, Pitt is another decent franchise, right? And you're seeing the types of points that Toledo was putting up, and watching him here kind of go across the middle, find that soft spot right in the zone coverage, sit down, make that an easy throw. I could see Bo Nix absolutely feeding on this. So whether or not he makes the 53-man roster or not, we've seen the Broncos have a long history of that happening, and you just see his absolute former teammates come out and just gush about how much they loved him. 11 touchdowns last year and an absolute playmaker for the University of Toledo. I think this could be a huge steal for the Denver Broncos. Other great news that the Denver Broncos got was Twitter was in an absolute panic yesterday as there was news out of San Francisco that our basically belle of the free agent class, Dre Greenlaw, who all of us are losing our minds with excitement for, there was a tweet that went out from 49ers on NBC that Dre Greenlaw is going to be missing the rest of the season because he has a torn quad muscle. Well, it did not take long from that point till a Denver Broncos beat reporter, Parker Gabriel, dug into it and said, yeah, this is actually just a slight strain, and we're talking a matter of weeks, not a matter of months. And almost immediately after that report came out, there was a Instagram post that Dre Greenlaw put out where he's racing a horse and just looks yoked out of his mind and running 1,000,000 miles an hour and just wrote, "I'm good, guys." And I love the fact that the 49ers are so upset about losing Dre Greenlaw that they're almost like preemptively celebrating his future injury. And then Dre Greenlaw comes in, he's like, "I'm good, guys." So a great sign that, man, San Francisco was so sad to see him go that they're trying to find the silver lining in that by leaking out fake news. But really the real news is your Denver Broncos dominated this year's NFL draft. Sean Payton is up there doing a victory lap about how great he feels. He found the puzzle pieces that were missing from this team to go from a playoff appearance in Bo Nix's very first year playing NFL quarterback. He thinks he has the pieces now to take that further so that the Broncos not only make the playoffs, we win the AFC West next year. I think we got better in every spot that we needed to get better, and I think the Denver Broncos are winning the AFC West, and that's something that we all can believe in. Come on, I need Aaron Gordon to just help me out.